Still trying to teach authors how corsets work. So, what can I do in a corset? I can bend over and touch my toes. I can bend this direction and that direction. And for good measure, I can bend this direction. I can do jumping jacks. I can lift heavy stacks of books. I can wield a sword. I can sweep. I can run upstairs and scare my cat. I can do pretty much anything I can do out of a corset, as well as some things that just I can't do when I'm not wearing a corset, one of which is stupid. I can do this little slouchy move where I'm just leaning against the weight of the corset and it feels really cool. Also, even though I don't encourage it, she does make a damn good sports bra. The girls are very supported. Also, you'd be impressed what you can fit in this thing. Got a book in there, got a quill, I've got the ink to go with the quill, I have some paint, I got a snacky for later, I got a remote control, and I have catnip bubbles for my cats. And I probably could have fit more in there. But there are some things I cannot do in a corset. For one, I don't like to eat large meals in a corset or put on a corset right after I've eaten a large meal because I find that I get incredibly bad heartburn and gas if I'm wearing a corset. But also, I find that I don't really like sitting for long periods of time in a corset. It tends to put a lot of pressure on my back, and eventually it will start to dig in at different places. I also find that I would not like lying down for long periods of time in a corset, so sleeping in one is not for me. I know some people did throughout history. I would not. There's also swimming. Would never want to swim in a corset. That sounds like hell. And things that I've seen authors write in books. No, I cannot button up my corset when I'm lying down. Also, you cannot really undo one busk to relieve the pressure on the corset. That just makes it significantly less comfortable. Also, this entire thing is called the busk, not individual hoops. That's not what they're called. Generally, also, your corset is going to be under several layers of clothing that is very tight-fitting. So reaching up under those layers of clothing to get to a single hook and undo it is going to be next to impossible. Similarly, unlacing it while I have clothing on top of it is going to be next to impossible. And there are some restrictions that your clothing is going to have for you. It's just not about the corset. If you have a character who's in the Victorian era, chances are she also has really tight sleeves with really far back armholes, which makes it incredibly hard to lift your arms. Like, you can usually get to about here before you get stuck. Also, just the bulk of clothing back then was, limiting. If you have 15 miles of skirts, you're going to have trouble running a marathon. Next video, we're going to talk about how comfortable corsets are.